Have you ever felt like your life just doesn't feel like it's the life you're living? It feels like you are doing so many different things for other people and you don't really know when this started. This is the perfect video for you if you feel like you just feel so disorganized everywhere, messy everywhere, but nowhere at the same time. We're going to talk about organizing your life today and what that looks like. In order to truly feel like you're organized outside of your life, you have to organize the things within yourself first. Creating those routines and those habits allow you to see so much consistency that it's almost inevitable that it will happen the way that you want it to. It's just a matter of fact of when it will happen. So the first thing that you should focus on is, how do you feel when you wake up? When you get up, are you like, ugh, I just want to go back to bed? Or do you feel like, I have so much to do, I went to sleep thinking about it and I woke up thinking about it? Or do you feel nothing? It's important to identify which of those three you most identify with. And if it's the first, where you're like, okay, why I don't want to do anything, that's important to kind of sit with. That means you have nothing that you are particularly excited to achieve, at least in my experience. When I used to wake up, specifically in my teenage years, I would just be so everywhere. I would be like, okay, like, I want to do this, but I kind of also want to do this, but I'm not really excited about any of it. And I had to really take time to focus on one thing so that I could start seeing consistency, start seeing some results in one area to believe that other areas I wanted would follow through. If it is hard for you to find that one thing that really gets you out of bed every morning, it doesn't mean you're going to leap out of bed every morning to go build the next new car, or a sustainable car, or the next, I don't know, cool thing. It means that you get up with purpose, and you get up knowing, if I chip away at this thing, this hobby, this interest, this activity, this cause, a little bit every day, that makes me feel a little bit more sane in wherever I'm at in life, whatever season I'm at in life. So it's important to find something that can be attached to your purpose, even if you don't fully know what that is. You have to at least find something that truly speaks to who you are at the core, even if it has nothing to directly do with the job that you're employed at, or the relationship you're in, or the type of friend groups you're a part of, something just for you. If you're the second version, which is, okay, I went to bed thinking about this, and I also have to wake up tomorrow thinking about that, and it's kind of just scatterbrain, for a lack of better words, you need less of a schedule. You need one thing that truly encompasses a handful of things. So say, for example, you have 10 things you need to do in 1 hour. What of those 10 things are either in the same area that can get done, whether physically, so it's a location, or whether it's mentally, you have to stay in that analytical mindset if you have to do numbers, or that creative mindset if you have to think about ideas. Or what is that area that you can be in that tackles maybe I'd say 4 out of the 10 things that you can do. And that's being generous. To give a real life example, that could be, if you have a bunch of errands you need to run. One's on one side of town, the other's on the other side of town, and the other is exactly where you're at. How much time can you afford to spend for, say, 2 hours where you're at to do a couple of things that need to get done today on the list? And today is so important to highlight, because sometimes I think we give ourselves self-imposed deadlines that don't allow us to truly operate in a spirit of peace, because we know we have so much to do and we just want to get it all done. But if 10 things that you have to do on that list, 4 of them don't need to be done until 2 weeks from now, don't even think about that. Not even this week. Don't even think about it this week. Think about it next week. Because that's going to give your brain some room to separate from things that allow you to create better ideas, or create an easier, more efficient way to get those things done when you're not all thinking it has to be done by 5 p.m. today. Self-imposed deadlines are so important to recognize because it can really be the downfall of how you create, build, and maintain these routines and habits. So now the last one, which I think is the toughest one. You wake up and you're not really inspired by anything. And in some ways, it can be relating to point number one, where it's like, okay, kinda, I feel this way. But point number one and point number three, they differ by the energy. Point number one is like, I have a few things I want to do. I just kind of don't really know where to start. Whereas point two was a little bit more, you know where to start, you just don't know how to start. Point number three is like, all right, what is it that makes me feel like I have nothing I really want to do today? Is it where I feel like I'm at in life? Is it my environment? This is your soul searching moment. This is the moment where you think to yourself, are the environments I'm consistently placing myself in causing me to be the product of my own downfall? And sometimes that is the realest question you can ask yourself is, are the environments I'm placing myself in, intentionally or unintentionally, helping or hurting my growth? I had to sit down with that actually not too long ago and think to myself, if I can't change my environment immediately, permanently, where can I go for a specific amount of hours to decide what it is I want to do? When I was unemployed, because I was between jobs, I had gotten furloughed from a job, and then it took me about 7 or 8 months to find another job. And it's kind of ironic because in that 8-month period, I think I was the healthiest I had ever been. I was going to the gym every day because I just wanted a place to be every day, consistently. I may not have gone like at the same time, like I was the 7 a.m. gym girly, but relatively around 11 or 12 o'clock, I would go and I would be there for about an hour and a half. And it gave me a sense of belonging, a place to be. It was an expectation for me to be there, even if I was the one with the expectation. And I think that was so important for my growth because it helped me realize there is a block of my day where I don't do anything but work out. So what are the blocks before and after it that my time is filled with? And after kind of just figuring out, it's not that I have nothing that I want to do, it's that I didn't have anything that inspired me. And so the inspiration came from, okay, I've been kind of on this workout journey for about a month now. I kind of want to see something different. And sometimes it's just doing something until you get tired of doing it. And then the next idea starts brewing and the next interest comes. And it doesn't mean you keep that consistent routine. It means until you find out the thing that you keep coming back to, in discovering that, because it's going to take a little bit, so give yourself some grace. What can I do to make sure that I am tracking what's going on? And I think that's a little easier said than done, where it's like, okay, for a period of 3 months, I'm just going to see what do I come back to when I do all these different things. It's going to take a little bit more than just kind of trying some things out, thinking you want to continue doing it. Like you have to figure out, when I'm doing something I don't necessarily want to do, what am I thinking about doing if I didn't have to do the thing I don't want to do? And that's where the nothing becomes at least something. You may not know exactly how you want to make that come to life. That may be in a job, that may be in a hobby, a side quest, I like to call it, which is really just like a side hustle. Or is it just for a season of your life? All the answers are completely okay. Whatever it is for you, it is okay. As long as you start by having a plan. Organizing your life means planning it. You can't keep everything stored up in your head. Maybe the physical planner isn't for you. God knows it's not for me. I cannot, for the love of everything that is good, keep up with the physical planner because it's just one extra step to remembering things that I think I can remember in my head, So everything on my phone. I like to be color coordinated. I like to be very cute with it. But realistically, over a course of time, you just want to make sure you don't forget the things you need to do. And if the calendar is too much, because trust me, it can be at first, set an alarm. If you have an iPhone, sorry, Android users, I'm so sorry. I don't really know what to tell you. Ugh, there's that stupid little gnat. If you're watching, you saw the little gnat kind of fly across the screen. If you're listening, there is a gnat in my house. I digress. If you cannot find yourself on a calendar consistently where you open up the calendar app and you're like, okay, I am definitely going to make sure that I know that there is a potluck I need to go to this day at this time. Make sure I bring mac and cheese, something. Use Siri. I'm going to show you something really quick. If you're watching and you don't know this, I hope I blow your mind. If you're listening, all you have to do, if you are an iPhone user, just say, hey Siri, set an alarm for 30 minutes from now and title it, get dishes out of the sink before company gets here. And you do that. Every time you have something you need to do, just let it remind you. Be on a timer. The first step is to writing the steps down. That's the first step. You can't remember anything if it's not living somewhere tangibly that you can see and physically cross out, it's done. Or check mark, it's done. Or delete, it's done. Organizing your life comes with being disciplined in what you have to do. It will relieve so much stress of oh my gosh, I totally forgot I had to do that and they're waiting on me, or I missed the deadline. It makes you feel like you're so much more of an organized person that has plans and purpose for your life. And, I'll be super candid. I am still in that space of figuring out what that looks like for me. It's part of the reason why these videos are so inconsistent. I'm making a plan to post once a week. I realized I'd been too aggressive with how I wanted my posting schedule to be, because at one point in my life, I was able to post aggressively, which was 3 times a week on 2 different platforms and a podcast platform. Right now, there's a little bit more of life that's going on, thank God, that I can only commit to 1 a week for sure. Now, if I get to 1 or 2 more additional in the week, hallelujah, that is so awesome. But I'm not going to let myself down by missing deadlines I put on myself or expectations I would like for myself to grow with and grow within, by saying, okay, I'll do 3 podcast episodes a week, and I don't get to any of them because of how the week shaped out. I know I can commit to at least 1 because I care about the growth of this channel. I care about the growth of people that view this video, the value they find in this. And I never want to overcommit myself. If you leave with nothing else from this video, remember, undercommit and over-deliver. If you have to pick up some groceries for someone and you have a busy day, let them know, oh yeah, I can definitely have those groceries to you by 6 p.m. I know that would be a super awesome help. And you're able to get to them by 3 p.m. That's great. You have now successfully undercommitted and over-delivered. It doesn't mean you do that all the time, but buffer time is so pivotal. That is the key to having an organized life, is creating buffer time. I severely have underestimated giving myself 30 minutes to an hour to shift just my mind into the space of the next thing I need to do. It can be sometimes, it can create an illusion when you're like, oh, these 2 things I need to get done are in the same relative area, they're 10 minutes apart. You're not factoring in traffic. You're not factoring in that one person that wants to stop and talk to you for 15 minutes. You're not factoring in an unexpected phone call. You're not factoring in the things you can't control. So if you're like, okay, I know that these things are 10 minutes apart. I may decide I want to get a smoothie in between that. I may decide I just want to disassociate from, the socialization I've had to do all day. Give yourself that buffer time. And you'll notice how much peace comes with the life you're creating. It doesn't have to be hard. But we make it hard because society and this economy has truly put us into a hustle mentality. And I think I used to be really subject to that. Like, let's grind it out. You see results only when you keep going. And that's true. But you're going to have to slow down first to figure out where you're going. Because if you go too fast, you might miss the exit that you have to get off of. And I don't want to be running in circles just because I wanted to get there quickly. I want to get there correctly. So I think those are kind of like my top 3 focuses when I'm thinking about organizing my life. If I were to leave you with any other point, it's to kind of like decompress. I'll let that be a bonus point. Decompress first before figuring out where you want to take your life. It can be very helpful to just kind of sit down and look around your space for a couple minutes and think, half of the stuff I'm looking at, I have not touched in months. What can I get rid of? Sometimes it's hard to see what your life can look like because your space is so messy. Quite often, our mind reflects our reality. I try to keep my area, my office space, my recording space so clean so that my creative ideas have the opportunity to flow and sit wherever they'd like. Whatever that looks like for you, it's important to keep a clean space. No matter what it is you do, you work with numbers, you're working creatively, working with your hands, it's important to keep a clean space because you cannot see the life you want for yourself if the life you have is making that too hard to see. So I hope that gives you a little bit more clarity into kind of organizing your life. I am emphasizing the word organizing because I want that to be the key focus, one of the key words that you lock in on with the rest of this year. A lot of people say, wait till January 1st to make those New Year's resolutions, or when a new quarter starts, new goals, you can start today. The excuses have to stop. At some point, you have to wake up and think to yourself, dang, I really do want more for my life. And it doesn't take a New Year's resolution or a vision board on Pinterest to get there. It takes me deciding I'm going to chip away at this 1% every day and see what I can make of it by this date. Creating deadlines for yourself is probably the final focus point of this video. If you do not give yourself a timeline of where you'd like to see some sort of result, you won't. A goal with no deadline is just a statement. If you want to have $10,000 saved by the end of the year, that's a deadline. And if it doesn't happen by then, that's fine. Create a new one. It's your deadline. But at least oh, well, I didn't make my $10,000 goal, but I made my $3,000 goal. And that is $3,000 more than I would have if I had not written this down and created a plan to save this money. The great news about the deadlines you create is you can always create a new one as long as you're the only one in it. So don't make things harder than they need to be. I think we get so caught up in the aesthetic and the way things could be. I am truly talking to myself with this one, that we find ourselves kind of everywhere and nowhere at the same time sometimes. And it's time to change that. It's time to be different. It's time to do the things that you really want to do. Because remember, everyone wants something, but everyone can't see something. I would love to be the mysterious girl that goes, if you know, you know. But truly, to kind of break that down and close this out, everyone wants something. Everybody wants to see a different life for themselves. They want to see different things in their life, different people in their life. Very few can actually see that happening for their life. And I'd love to argue that the ones that do see it saw it somewhere else first, on a paper, in a note, on a vision board. They saw it somewhere else or that the mind could repeatedly see, oh, I already have this. Therefore, that attracted that mentality, that attracted that job, that attracted the right person. Organize your life by starting with the plan. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Party of One podcast. If you stayed until the end of the video, comment the word below, organize, and let that be a signifying moment for you that you're going to do something different with your life, even if it's just for a little bit, just to say that you completed it. All right. See you guys next time. Peace.